Hi, everybody. It's
Wow.
Wednesday. Welcome to a special edition of NE1 World Showcase. We have host versus host today. We're gonna have some fun.
Yes.
Yesterday was my birthday. I got to wear a crown all day. I ran around like a chicken with no head. I was on some podcasts, two podcasts. It was great. Saw everybody, had some dinner, and hopefully things can chill out today.
Yeah.
Plan,
Well, yeah, we were
right?
just talking about that, Laurie. I was like, holy cow, Laurie, you did a lot yesterday on your birthday. You were all over the place. And that's what happens when you have a campaign running, right?
Right.
You have to wear many, many hats. And yesterday it was birthday girl. And,
Yesterday
you
was
know,
crown instead of hat.
yeah, it was. And it was heavy. I'm sure it was heavy. Thank you for having me on again, Laurie. This host
Yeah.
versus host thing. This is interesting. This is new.
Yeah. This is gonna be some fun. So for everybody that's watching, I'm gonna be the host for the first half an hour, and I am going to interview Jorge Medina about his graphic novel. I'm super excited because I think I came up with some good questions. I might stump you on that last one.
Yeah,
And
I had to
then
think
around
about that.
30 minutes, we're going to flip flop, and then George gets to interview me because, of course, I'm campaigning for Path of the Pill writer, our first trade paperback. So,
Yeah, which is exciting stuff. I'm happy you're doing it because one of the
thanks.
questions I know that we're going to be talking about trades and stuff like that, and I think I'll tell you what my thoughts on trades are. But yeah, no, I'm happy. I'm happy that you're putting that stuff together, and I can't wait to read it. I can't wait to read the thing all in one reading. You know what I mean? Where I don't have to go into the bag, take it out.
Yeah,
Be careful not to damage the book, you know.
every time.
So yeah, so I'm happy to have that trade in my hand and just kind of just flip through it.
I'm super excited to
Yeah,
just touch, feel,
yeah,
smell, the whole
yeah,
tactile,
yes.
all the senses. I will promise you I won't taste the book.
You'll be
Um,
licking the pages. All
Yeah,
right.
like a window licker. So we're gonna skip over that, what I just said. Happy birthday,
You
Lori. Hope
go.
29 is the best year ever. Hugo, I will pay you $20 later because he
Hugo's good. Hugo's
he
good.
was great. He was
He's
great. If I
good.
could be 29 again, that would be wonderful.
Oh, that'd be
Um,
amazing.
yeah, I'm an old lady, but it's all right. Great things happen as you age, right? Like
Right.
fine wine and
Yeah,
cheese.
exactly. Like your lower
Moving
back
on.
starts hurting. Anyway, go ahead.
All right, so I'm gonna jump right in because we're 3
Oh,
minutes into your half an hour, and I got
oh,
questions for you.
all right. Let's
What?
do
You
it.
go. All right, so now your trade paperback, or
Yes.
graphic novel, whatever you want to
Yes.
call it,
Yeah.
is old. It's almost as old as I am, right? Because I'm 29,
You're
and,
29. Yeah.
and your
Yeah.
book is 25.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
incredible. It's almost as old as you as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm about to double that bad boy.
But my question is,
Yes.
after that long, when you turn a series that you've been working on for 25 years into a collection, there has to be a lot of thought into that. So, what is your suggestion for people like myself doing a first time trade paperback? What are the things that you thought about before you put this into a collection to help you be successful?
So okay, when the thought of putting that into a trade happened almost instantaneously. Like when I
Okay.
decided to publish or when I decided to print, I knew, and this is part of it, right? As an indie, I knew that I wasn't going to have enough money to do so, right? Way back in the day, this was like the first
Same.
time Russ was created in 1999. The character himself,
Gosh.
1999 is when I created it, right?
Oh
And
my
now he's
gosh.
25 years old. The first time he was published was in '03. That's when I published it for the first time. So his publishing date is different than the creation date, whatever. But in '03, when I published it, I was printing out single issues, and those things are time consuming and
Mhm.
expensive.
Of course.
So I knew that I was only going to be able to do 6 because
Yeah.
I wasn't going to have the money to do an ongoing series, but I wanted to leave it in a place where it was an entire story. This was before I knew about arcs and all that other stuff. I was young into the game. And so I decided, let me leave it open-ended so that it ends the story, but I can write more if I wanted to, right?
Okay, good.
So the idea of putting it in the trade was always there. It was always going to be 6 issues, trade, that's it.
Hmm.
And the reason why I did it that way also is because the shelf life of that trade or that graphic novel is longer than the shelf life of a floppy, right? A floppy,
Yes.
1 month and you're done. But, but when we put stuff out, it takes us at least 3 months or so to create one book, especially when you're doing everything. So the mindset was give it a longer shelf life. If this book can sit on the shelf for a longer period of time, in this case 25 years, then I can continue to push this book or sell this book, because in those 25 years there's tons of people who haven't read the book.
Right.
Right, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not, Frank Miller. It's not Sin City here. I'm not. I didn't write Sin City.
Yeah.
So that was the mindset behind that.
Interesting. Okay. Well, question number 2.
Okay, moving
When
right
it
along.
comes to writing, a lot of times we have to research, and Russ had some interesting topics, right? So I'm wondering, it's a two-part question. One, what kind of research did you do in order to put the story together? And two, are you on the NSA watch list at this point? Question mark.
So the honest answer, I was thinking about this question, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna give her the script." The honest answer is none.
You didn't do
Honestly,
any research?
no. Listen, 1999.
You're
I,
like,
I
the internet was brand new.
yeah, I was like, yeah, exactly. What internet? I was going to the library. No, like, so what happened was, when I created the story, when I created the character way back when, I was still in college, right? And
Yeah.
honestly didn't know about comic writing the way I know comic writing now, or writing in general. Like, I was doing it for fun. Like, I would fold, 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper in half, staple them, and then just draw on them, and that was my comic, right? So there was
This
very
movie
little
was
research
awesome.
that went into the story itself, other than I was working at an orphanage at the time,
I
right?
see.
And so the story came from there. What if a kid who was living in this orphanage wanted to escape? What would that look like? And
Don't they all want to escape?
right, well, yeah, well, you know what I mean? Are they happy here? Like, I never really dealt with them because I'm not a social worker. I was more data
Yeah.
entry guy. So I was just
Gotcha.
putting in their names. So I didn't really know what their life was like inside the home. But so then that's when the creative juices start flowing and say, what if these kids were, what if Russ was a kid in an orphanage with no last name, only an identification number, and there was something nefarious going on in the home, where it was cloaked as something else, and when they found this out, they needed to escape. That was the mindset. That was the thought. As far as the research went, it was just my imagination at that point, right? Like,
Yeah.
that was it.
Unless it's either that or Encyclopedia Britannica,
Right, exactly. Yes, I had those.
right?
I had those.
We
Um,
had, like, I think up to S. I don't think we even had the whole set. It was, like,
you did-
partial set. Like, "Mom, I need to look up something with the letter
those
T. I need to go
things
to the
were
library."
insane. So yeah, so there was that. It was that. It was just me playing. And that's what it was. So I am on no list, and yeah, research.
Yeah, you probably are at this point, I was gonna say, after you've been
Yeah.
writing other
Well,
things.
now,
Join
yes.
us.
Now, yeah. Now, yeah, most likely, yes.
But it wasn't Russ that got you onto the list.
No, it wasn't. That was too early on.
Gotcha. Next
Next.
question. So you write not only Russ 5377, but also Wonder Duck and Dark Knight. Dead of Night, excuse me. Sorry.
Yeah,
Not
I
Dark
say the
Knight. Oh
same
my
thing.
God.
I call
You
it that
wrote Dark
sometimes.
Knight. Christopher Nolan stole it.
That's what I do.
Mm, you're gonna
Mhm.
file a lawsuit today, people,
I
today.
am. I am.
But these are all different genres.
Yes.
What's the difference? Like, how different is your mindset when you're writing for Russ versus Wonder Dog versus Dead of Night?
Okay. I think the mindset was all right. So when I created Wonder Duck, I was 15 years old, right? That I was
Yeah.
a kid. So writing that story came from being that age, coming off of just watching, cartoons, and so when I created the story, the premise, at least for the character, it was that I was in a different place in my life, right?
Mm,
Fast forward like 7 years later, I'm 22 years old and I'm creating Russ. And now I'm looking at it, and Russ is like 17 in the story. So I'm looking at it from that point of view. So writing those stories, because I was so close in age to what I was writing, it was
mm,
easier, right? As I got older, and obviously something like Dead of Night, for example, Now I'm right now. That's more serious. That's a more serious tone, right?
Yeah.
There's this, I don't want to call him a serial killer in a sense, right? Because he is offing a few people, and so now I have to get into that mindset, right? And that's when the research comes in. Luckily, this was Dead of Night I'm talking about
Yeah.
was something that was created by Hades, who is the head of ASAP Imagination, and so it was his character. So the research had been done in that way, where he knew what he wanted the story to be. He knew where he wanted it to go. Um, it's a rough life, Lou.
I know. I'm watching. I've been watching the
Baby dog.
uh,
So yeah, so the research, so writing that was getting together with Hades, saying, "Hey, so where are you seeing this world going?" Right? I
yeah.
think you might have had a similar situation with some of the books that you've written for other people, where you have to sit down
Yeah.
as their world, and
Right.
now while you're still doing research on your own because you want to make sure that it's legit, the world that you're in, that a lot of that stuff has already been done. So yeah, so I think that was the difference when I was writing these things. It's just where I was in age, and then also just writing for somebody else. Obviously, I'm writing more stuff for myself now, where like the mindset is I'm young at heart. I'm very when I like to write for like young adults and stuff like that, right? Those are the kind of stories that I tend to write more of. So I dive into that kind of stuff more. It's easier for me to write that, but I like to like kind of flex the writing muscles and write other stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's me as well. I'm always like, what would it look like if I did fantasy
I
or
would love to see what it would look like if you wrote something for like young adults. Like I would love to see your YA
Game of
take or
Thrones?
something.
Oh
No, no, no,
Lord.
no, YA, young adults, young
Oh,
adults.
young adult.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes, yes.
I don't know. I might have a hard time with
You think
so
so?
doom
Yeah.
and gloom.
Well, you know
I
what it
always
is.
say, like, when you look at George and I, which one of us would you think will be writing young adult,
Right, right,
Adventures of Mutants and Wonder Duck, and
right.
who would be writing the Western apocalypse with, like, undead banditos? You would be wrong. That's the funny
but
part.
but I think that I think you could though. I think you could. Imagine Path of the
Yeah.
Trail writer for like a YA audience. Grant,
Oh, Lord, no.
because
That one would never work. That
but
one
think
would
about this.
never work.
Think about this, right? I think we were talking about this yesterday with Sam in the show. So, Invincible, right? The show
Yeah, where
Invincible,
if they
right?
took all the adult stuff out and made it for young adults.
Well, but I have a nephew who's 16 years old and loves that comic, right? Like I
Yeah.
think that kids today are different than they were when we were younger. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, it was very much superhero and
yeah, it was a lot. It was tame. It wasn't, you're not gonna see blood and guts. If that was the case, they were throwing an R-rated on that thing or whatever
right.
it was. And now it's like now my nephew's like, you ready? March 14th, the second part of it comes out. Let's see what happens. Like he's excited. So yeah, so I think
I
that you wouldn't have to
it's
tone it down
true.
too much.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. You don't
I have faith, Laurie.
there's stuff coming. And I mean, like, issue
Oh,
4 issue
well,
4, there was some self-harm, and, like, that's where my concern is when we
gotcha.
get to some of these
Gotcha.
topics that are like,
The
it's
topics.
not
Yes.
okay. Like, it's really not okay. It's only in this world where that would even be considered
Gotcha.
because of the circumstances.
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
it's like, that's kinda crossing the line. And, a lot of times people are like, "Oh, my nephew would really love this. He likes zombies and da da." I'm like,
And you're like,
"How old
don't
is
don't
he?"
do it.
He's
Yeah,
13. You might
yeah.
wanna wait a few more years.
Right, right, right. Well, yeah. Well, then
Like,
there you
I would
go.
love to sell you books, but I don't wanna scar your
Your
13-year-old.
child. Yeah. All right.
So, alright. Now, talk about some genre that you've dabbled in. Would you ever consider writing in other things like full-on horror or romance?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Absolutely. I
You would
I, I
write a
love.
romance?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Listen,
Spicy romance?
like, okay, well, you're like 50 Shades of Grey type of stuff. Is that what you're talking
Oh,
about?
maybe not. That's well, wow, that's like
I mean,
in the deep end.
what are we talking about?
Would you
Spicy
use
here.
a
What are you
pen
saying?
name? I'm just curious.
Yeah, most likely. I mean, I would
Yeah.
have to, right? I'm writing Wonder Duck from the writer of Wonder Duck comes. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm the
really?
creator of Wonder Duck.
Yeah.
50 Shades of Foul.
Yeah, don't duck with me.
I'll be
Um
here all day. Tip your waitress, guys.
yeah, yeah. So what I mean, yeah, I think so. Why not? I mean, like I said, it's about flexing that writing muscle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like horror movies. I do. I think I actually love horror movies. They don't
You?
scare me as much, but I do like them. I like them a lot. Like I love. I think one of my favorites is obviously Halloween and breaking news. George Medina working on his new project, 50 Shades of George.
I'm dead. I'm dead.
I need a pen name. I can't just use my name.
No, your pen name is something else.
Yeah.
But still 50 Shades of George. We're like, aha, I found him.
Yeah, got him. We got him. But yeah, dude, I would love to. I mean, and listen, Dead of Night is kind of like a departure from like some of that stuff. You know what
Well,
I'm
would you
saying?
consider that horror because it's serial killer?
No, I don't think it's
And,
horror.
what would you call it?
I think
Hey,
it's
Gooch, how are you, buddy?
I think it's like I would think it's psychological thriller, I guess,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like, when you're talking about, serial killers and stuff like that. But yeah, no,
yeah.
yeah, I would totally do that. Sure.
What about, sci-fi?
Sci-fi for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely sci-fi. I don't know that there is anything that I would say, nah, man, other than like freaking like straight up porn. You know what I mean? Like maybe that, maybe,
I was like, how spicy are we talking here?
yeah. How spicy are we talking about? Spice Channel, like back in the days? So yeah, no, maybe not that exactly, but that nice, I like a nice romantic comedy once in a while. How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days was a
Yeah,
good movie.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
How to
So
lose a duck in 10 days.
how to lose,
Ha,
how
ha,
to lose a
ha.
duck. Yeah, exactly. So yes, the answer is yes, Laurie. I would.
Okie dokie. I like that answer because then
Hmm.
it's like, Dear George, it's time for us to collaborate to come up with this really crazy idea.
Yeah, dude. I have I've written, with a buddy of mine, and the genres change, right? So like I
Yeah.
obviously where you grew up, like I grew up in Yonkers, New York. Not exactly the suburbs, the whatever. So I was very close to the Bronx. And so I have a buddy of mine who we're writing a story about a kid who grows up in that environment. You know what I mean? It's a little more, it's
Yeah.
more serious. It's guns, it's violence, it's drugs, it's all that kind of stuff. So, there's that. So yeah, I mean, I think we all have different writers in us, the mindset of a writer. I
Yeah.
mean, granted, when you're writing your young adult stuff and kid stuff, you gotta tame some of those demons, a lot of those demons, because you don't want to throw that in there. But
Yeah.
I think it can be done. And that's why I say Laurie Calcaterra can write that kind of stuff.
Um, I think I might change my bonus question.
Really? Wait a minute. You just
Yeah.
gonna throw curveballs at me?
Yeah, I think I am. Okay. So next question.
Goddamn.
Next question. Give me a
Yes.
second here.
Hmm.
I want to talk about lettering
Yes.
because we both letter,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So you letter your own works, correct?
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay. What resources and inspiration do you lean on when you're working on your own stuff?
So I mean, I've I've always liked, obviously I've been reading comics for a long time, right? So you take some of that with you, but also I bought a few books about lettering, because when I started getting into it, I decided, if I'm going to get into this, I need to learn what the hell I'm doing. Right?
Mhm.
So I bought a book. It was a DC book on lettering. Like DC has a book about lettering, and it
Really?
and yeah, and it breaks down the process, how many words per balloon, you know what I mean? How to set them apart, how to set those things apart and stuff like that. And even when I was doing my first few books, and I want to give a big shout out to one of the guys who actually helped me with that, because even back then, you're afraid to ask sometimes. I'm like, hey, I'm
Yeah.
lettering my own books. What do you think? And it's like, this is a guy who's a working letterer. Like, is he really going to give me that information? You know what I'm
It's
saying?
hard sometimes because people maybe don't want to hurt your feelings, but I'm like, I really want to know. But I
Well,
mean,
yeah,
like, it depends on who you ask. A lot of times they'll be like, you broke way too many rules. And I was like,
right.
okay,
Yeah.
um,
What are those rules?
what
How
are
do
the
I
rules?
fix that?
Right? Exactly.
Exactly. Exactly. I need to know. I need to know. What's up?
Hey,
What's up, Lord?
Lori.
So yeah, so big shout out to Wilson Ramos Jr. Wilson Ramos Jr.
Okay.
has been he's a colorist, he's a letterer. He worked for Marvel way back in the day. And he actually, the very first time I gave him one of my books, I said, hey, Wilson, what do you think about this? He's like, dude, you need to change the font first of all. Do not use
Oh,
Comic Sans. Don't use Comic Sans because Comic Sans has, the little eye, has the bar,
yes,
and that's a no-no. That's like
right.
even back then, when this was back in like 2004, whatever, when I would come up to, he was like, do not use that font anymore. I know it says Comic Sans and you want to use it
It
because
lies to
it's Comic
you.
Sans, but don't use it simply because of that. And there's, times to use the I, times not to use the I with the bar on it. You know what I mean? When you're
Right.
starting a sentence, it's okay. In the middle of the sentence, it isn't. So, things like that. So when you're doing what we're doing, like for example, you lettering, we want to know what are the best practices, what are the things that we should be
Yes.
doing and not be doing. Because the old adage, right? Know the rules so you can break them. Now
Yes.
you can get funky with your lettering once you
Right.
know what you are supposed to be doing or not doing. And so,
Right.
yeah, so I learned a lot of that. And, downloading fonts that you should be able to use, be careful with the fonts you use. You know what I mean? Like a lot of that stuff, especially because we're publishing this stuff. And,
Mhm.
you could get in trouble for using fonts that you should not be using. So
Go look for
things
the
like
free
that.
fonts.
Free fonts,
Free.
free font. Blambot.com is a great website. If you
Mhm.
haven't been on blambot.com, is a great
Lambot
website.
is great.
Yeah, for because it'll tell you what are you using this font for. If you're using it for indie comics or if you're using it for this is good, or not. If not, pay for it. And here's how much this one costs. So it gives
Mhm.
you like a range of fonts that you can and cannot use.
Do you ever, hand letter stuff like the SFX in the background? Do you ever take
No.
the time to do any of
Yeah,
that?
it's
Just
crazy.
curious.
You figure growing up in hip hop, back in the freaking 90s, I would have a black book where I would do graffiti and stuff.
Yeah.
I can't do that stuff. I can't draw letters.
I can't do graffiti either.
I,
I had
I
to pay someone to do my last T-shirts that were graffiti on the brick wall.
right,
I
right.
tried like 17 times and I was like, "This looks like
Yeah,
someone
yeah.
with OCD is trying to tag a wall."
So I don't do anything by hand. Thank God for the digital world, because that's how I do all of my special effects and stuff like that. It's just digitally.
Alright, so I'm trying to decide what bonus question I wanna ask you
Oh, you
here.
have a few. Okay.
Well, I changed it mid-interview because I have more things I wanna ask, but I don't know, maybe I'll
Oh,
ask you the real one.
okay.
Last question. Dun, 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 dun. No, the real one.
The
Alright,
real
so
one? Okay.
it's funny. Alright. What
Okay.
is your favorite TV show or book or series, Netflix, whatever, involving a duck? Go.
Yeah, well, that was easy, right? That was DuckTales. It was
The
DuckTales,
cartoon in
the
the 90s?
cartoon. It's always been DuckTales. That's always that, and then Darkwing Duck, right? Those
Yeah.
were the two that I really. And obviously, people always, oh, this reminds me of Howard the Duck, and I'm like, you know what? I never watched Howard the Duck.
You didn't.
No, I didn't. I never read the comic. I have no idea. I know he's got like it's adult humor with Howard, but I've
Yeah.
never actually liked it. Life is like a hurricane. Yes, Hades here in Duckburg. But yeah,
You're
that's
in
yes,
sorry.
that's definitely my favorite. Now let me ask you no, but let me ask you this. Can you ask me the other bonus one?
Yeah, sure. Because we got 6 minutes, so I can ask you.
Oh,
So, a lot of times you're thinking along the lines of young adult. Is there a reason why you cater to that age group?
nostalgia, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
Nostalgia, and my like I believe this. In order for the comic book industry to continue to grow, we need to write stuff for the
For
kids
the
that are
kids.
coming up to read that kind of stuff. Because eventually they can graduate to Path of the Pale Rider, right?
Right.
But if they never picked up a book, they're probably never gonna want to read anything on paper other than, hey, do you have a video game of that? Or do you make videos? And you do, which is great because you do make videos. But I feel like in order for the industry to continue, we need to have stuff for the 7-year-olds, the 8 year
Yeah.
olds, the 9 year olds to kind of get into it, right? To be able to pick up a book and maybe not even pick up a physical book, but at least scroll on their phones or on their tabs, on their iPads or whatever
I
to
don't
kind
want
of
my
read some of
kids to
that
have phone.
stuff.
Yeah, they have an iPad.
He said George answered nostalgia. Is he writing and creating what his younger self would have wanted to read?
I
Yes.
I think that's it, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It was, playing with your toys, playing, pulling out action figures, and then building these worlds and playing with them. That's what it was about for me when I was creating, even like Wonder Duck, and like, Russ, action adventure stories. When I created Russ, I was pretty much, like I said, I was pretty much into that was like my Dragon Ball Z era. I was into that stuff.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
exactly.
Dragon Ball Z, the Boondocks, that cartoon that came
Yeah,
out back in that around that time. So, I was like, I want to do something similar to this, and I want to create my own stuff because I've always wanted to just create my own things. But yeah, no, I think that's why I lean more towards that, is because that idea of, man, we have to write stuff for the kids so that they can then graduate to the stuff that you're writing. For example, Path to Bale Writer, Dead of Night, things
yeah,
like that. You know what I mean? Because like you said, you'd love to give Path of the Pale Rider to a 13-year-old, but you're afraid of the content that's in it, right? So what if there was
yeah.
something for the 13-year-old, so that when he turns 17, 18 years old, he can say, yo, I used to read comics back in the days. I need something with a little more, a little more. Let me see what this Path of the Pale Rider thing
That's
is.
interesting.
You know what I'm saying? That's the whole mindset behind writing for a younger audience for me now,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, George, thank you for answering all of my questions and 2 bonus questions.
Two bonus questions. Listen, we gotta
Done.
we gotta make some time here for the questions that we're about to ask you. So
All right.
that's what this is. But before we go into your portion, I
Yes.
do want to thank everyone who obviously was in the chat, and
Yes, of course.
to let them know that obviously both of us, we are down with the
Hey.
NE1 World, and ours, and you can pre-order my book right now on the NE1World.com website. So if you haven't done so
Well,
yet.
we're gonna get there. Let me do this, because
Yes.
what I wanted to do is to play Morgan Quade's beautiful voice over the
Morgan is
air,
amazing.
because that man has the best voice. But
He's
remember, if you have a story inside of you, like George and I do, and you're looking for a home, you need someone to publish, Any One World is a great place. You can always submit to ASAP Imagination and Any One World, and get your books out. You know what? I'll stop talking. Morgan does it way better.
If you're an indie creator looking for a home for your comic book, graphic novel, short story collection, or novel, then you've come to the right place. NE1 World is a full-service publisher and distributor which can take your creator-owned project and showcase it to the world. We offer 2 primary distribution channels: digital distribution, where we'll sell your book in our digital bookstore; digital and print distribution, where we'll sell your book in our digital bookstore and distribute through physical bookstores across the UK, USA, and Canada. In addition to distribution, NE1 World can also work with you to publish your book. We'll publish your book digitally, helping you source artists, edit, format, and publish your book in digital format. Digital and print. We'll publish your book digitally and produce and distribute print copies of your work. Digital, print, and merch. We'll publish digital and print copies of your book and then work with you to design or distribute products and add-ons such as t-shirts, posters, and more. On top of all of this, we can offer additional paid services where required, specifically cover design, editing, and formatting. Unlike many traditional publishers, NE1 World gives indie creators maximum control and flexibility over publishing and distribution. So if you're looking to partner with us to distribute existing books or publish something new, read carefully through the information below and fill out a submission form.
There you have it. That's how it all works. I love how there's so many options
Mhm.
of different things to do. So if you're looking to just do digital or digital merch, there's options. There's options, everybody. This is the beautiful anyoneworld.com that I like to bring up every show just so you can see. And then we usually have a dance break. That is all. That is all you get today. Because we got to move.
Yeah, we gotta go. We gotta
But
go.
there's so much good stuff here. But I just want to show you what George was talking about. Look, ta-da, ta-da,
Oh, look
ta-da.
at that, back to back.
We're neighbors. We're
Yes,
neighbors.
we are.
No, that's what I love about the website. Haiti spends some good time on here making sure it's always updated. There's always new promos. There's coupon codes. There's buy one, get one free. Look, there's buy one, get one free of this. And then, of course, look, if you get all 6 issues of Russ 5377, get 50% off. That's
Mm.
nuts. But right here, this is the beautiful cover, by the way.
Thank you.
So
Thank you, Laurie.
you know, looking at all your other covers, and this one is just like it's gold. It's just the golden. It's the golden cover, man. I was like, this is so cool. So there's a great way you can pre-order right from the first page. Same thing, Path of the Pale Rider. You can order right from the first page. The cool thing is if you want to see what else George is doing, you can always go to the Welcome to Creator collection and scroll through. Look at all these. Look.
Yeah.
Oh my God. There's just a
That's insane.
huge
Yeah.
collection.
Yeah.
Here's George down here. I think you're actually in 2 places.
Yeah. I have Wonder Dog. Yeah. Wonder Dog's on there too. Yeah.
See?
That's
So
cool.
all of his stuff is here. So you can digitally download or you can get the physical copy as well. So that's what I love. Whoops, helps if I actually show the page that I'm on. This one. Push the button. This one. So you can get all these as digital downloads. You can pre-order Dead of Night issue 2. Just so super cool that you can get all of this work, you know, in one place. So very cool. Very cool. All right. At this point, I'm handing the reins over to my co-host.
Yes. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for watching the NE1 World Showcase. My guest today is Laurie Calcaterra. Hey, Laurie.
Hi. Thanks for having me on the show.
All right. Listen, we're going to ask you a few questions about Path of the Pale Rider. Happy belated birthday, by the way. I know you were celebrating your birthday yesterday.
You're such a goofball.
These people came in late. You know, now you're getting the second half of the show. So why don't we get to it? Because I have some questions, and we only have about 27 minutes at this point. We've exhausted 3 minutes here. All right. So I know a lot about the Path of the Pale Rider world because I got on it on the ground floor, issue number 1. I was there. When you were doing your thing and telling everybody about this crazy idea about death is broken, right? Like, what the heck does that mean? And I remember people like, what do you mean? So
what that means?
I also know that this book started out as a screenplay. It wasn't always going to be a graphic novel. It was a screenplay. Talk to us about the difference in the story between the screenplay and the comic book.
Well, I mean, I think that was probably the hardest part of this whole thing was taking something that was meant to be watched in one sitting, understood in one sitting, and breaking it up into individual issues. You know, when do you cut off the action? When do you switch from 1 to 2? And that's, I think, the thing about the script that's still fluid. Everything else is done. You know what I mean? Like, because the script, like I said, was done, and I think I finished it January of 2020 is when I started looking for an artist, but it was written in 2018. I like tweaked it in 2019, right? So it's been done. But like last issue, number 4, I actually took issue 5 and issue 4 and made them into 4. So we had 13 issues that we made into 12. And I'm looking at number 6 with the shifty eye too. Like maybe we can do some, you know, more with that too. So I think that's the hardest part is where do you cut the story? But issues 1 through 4, the way they are now makes perfect sense because it's like act 1 of a movie. And then like we'll do act 2 of the movie, which is 5 through 8. And of course, that's the part of the movie where everything goes wrong. So you think you've been seeing things go wrong? They haven't gone wrong yet.
Well, part of like the reason why I ask about the difference is because I know that obviously you come from you have a background in film, right?
Yes. Oh, you want me to talk about how the script?
Well, that's the thing, right? When you're writing a script, you have to think about budget sometimes. Were you thinking about budget? Like, am I going to be able to do this? No, you didn't. Because in comic books, you don't even think about that. You're like, whatever my artist can draw, I'm going to put it in the script. So when you wrote the screenplay, you weren't thinking, maybe I can't do this, maybe I can't. You kind of just wrote it. Nice.
I threw it all in there.
Nice.
Everything is in there. And then when I got done, I was like, bro, what do I do with this? Right? Because it has really big moments. And when I was kind of letting people from the production company that I was with read it, they were like, Netflix, take it to Netflix. And I was like, I am not brave enough to do that. I don't want to lose control of it. I kind of want to be hands-on.
Mhm.
And they're like, well, Netflix isn't going to let you do that. And I was like,
Yeah.
all right. So I paused on it. And then, of course, my husband read it and was like, this is a comic book.
Right.
So, we started in 2020. I got an artist team. And then, of course, the pandemic hit and everything blew up.
Yeah.
So I took 2020. I think we ended in August. I was just like, everybody, we're done. I'm like, we're not gonna beat a dead horse. It isn't going anywhere. We're gonna scrap the whole everything and we're gonna wait, right? So the rest of 2020 and then all of 2021, I didn't do a thing. I was listening, contemplating. I was like, if I'm gonna do this as a comic series, I want to do it right. I need to have the right artist.
Mhm.
And I wanted to be patient, but at the same time, I'm still talking to people about it, right?
Right.
And I
Right.
met someone else who is the cartoonist for a very prominent show on the Fox network,
Ooh.
and I let him read it. And you know what he said to me?
What do you think?
Netflix. And I was like, God damn it.
Right. Right.
Like, Netflix is the place for this. That's how big this story gets. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, it has everything crammed into it. I never really thought about budgeting. It was about the story.
Yeah. Right.
And
Good.
it'll be whatever it is. I just want people to read the story or experience the world of Path of the Pale Rider. If it becomes animated, I'm happy with that.
Absolutely.
I would love for it to get the Castlevania treatment. Oh my lord. That would
Mhm.
be super cool. And then if eventually it turns into something live action, kudos. You know what I mean? My
Right.
life is complete. I can die.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you I guess how far along in the screenplay are we compared to where we are? Like, so the first 4 issues of
Is
your
the
Path of the
first
Pale
act.
Rider is the first. So how many pages in the script is that? What does that equal to pages in the
Oh, how
script?
many pages?
Yeah. Is it like what, 15? No, it would be what, like 30, 40 pages, maybe, you think?
My scripts are all different lengths depending on how much action.
Gotcha.
Like, for example, issue number 7, which probably has the most action of anything
Mhm.
that I've written, is 4 pages.
Oh, wow.
Is short because there's no dialogue.
Right. It's just the script. Yeah.
It's
Yeah. I
just
got you. I see
description
what
of
you're
all
saying.
the
Yep.
chaos that's happening,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But then, a typical script for an issue for me is about 14 pages. So,
Gotcha. Gotcha.
so
Any
look at
chance?
it, 15 times 4, that's what, 60?
Yeah.
So we're about 60 pages into the script.
Any
But,
chance
I
we'll
mean,
get?
and it changes, this, like, I have a bunch of dialogue
Yeah.
because if you're watching a movie, that dialogue can be 30 seconds,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
But I'm condensing that dialogue when it's on the page because maybe I don't need it all, because the art is showing it, or there's just no room for it. So I'll condense it, you know what I mean? So it's always fluid.
Yeah.
Mm.
Any chance we'll see the screenplay in one, like,
You will.
yes.
Actually, in the trade paperback, I put the scripts for issue 1 and issue 4. I didn't give you all the scripts because
Right.
it
Right.
would just
Yeah.
add more pages there. I don't think anybody wants to read all of it, but I figured people would want to read how I describe the Big James situation because it's different in the script because I'm talking about how quiet they need to be,
Mm.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
emotion behind just the sheer terror of what the situation is
Right.
after he's up and he's
Well,
chasing them.
that's the stuff we don't see, right? Like,
You
that's what I'm
can't
saying. Like, that's
Yeah,
the
you
stuff like in
can't
the script. It's in the script, but the comic book reader never gets to see that kind of stuff, which is why
right.
I like to see scripts.
Yeah.
I
Well,
like to
you
see
and
that
I
kind of stuff.
do.
Yeah, yeah.
Most
No,
everybody else could care
but
less. They're like, "Give
but
me
but
all the variants."
but Marvel and even Image. I remember when I had this issue number 1 of, like, The Walking Dead. They had, like, the director's cut, and they had, like,
Yeah.
the script in the back of the book. So I think people do kind of like to see that. They just don't realize that they want to see it. Yeah. Oh, look at that.
This is the giant East of West, and,
Mhm.
when I was making
That's nice.
our trade paperback, I was like, "Show me what's in the back here," right?
Mhm.
'Cause they just have a ton of you can't
Jesus.
even see it. They have a ton of bonus material, but
Right.
they have, like, the black and white, and then look, here's the script, how they write
Love
their
that.
stuff.
Yeah. Love
So,
that.
it's interesting to see how other people are
Absolutely.
writing, and
Yeah.
then what actually makes it onto the page, from the
Especially, yeah, especially if you're picking up these books as somebody who wants to maybe possibly write your own comic book. It's nice to be able to see, because a lot of people say, "How do you write a comic book script?" Like, they have no idea. All
Right.
right, so that was a long question. I
Sorry.
apologize for taking up so much of that time. Here's
Sorry.
my next question for you, and I know you have a few of these within your book, but which one was your favorite character to write?
Oh, I mean, they're all so unique and great, but I love to write Dwayne Fink.
You
I
did.
love writing Dwayne Fink. You guys we haven't even scratched the surface on that character.
Mm,
He's just this guy that wanders around the apocalypse and doesn't care. Like,
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't even know how he's alive, to be honest with
that's
you.
amazing. Okay.
He's just so nonchalant about everything, and, I mean, like, he has a past, which we'll find out in next issue, kinda the information that he has. He's gonna, because where
Right.
we left him, he and Jude were in the, jail cell in Santa Claus,
Mm,
and Jude was like, "You know how this started, don't you?" And Dwayne was like, "No one believes me when I tell them my story." What does he know? You know what I mean?
nice. Yeah,
So what does he
yeah.
know? And that's where I left y'all before I was like, "Look what happened in the past."
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
It's
But
funny.
is he? Do you know somebody like him? Like, where did he come from? Where did that character come from when you
Where
created him?
does he
Where did he
come
come from?
from? I don't know. He's just a
Yeah,
happy-go-lucky drunk.
nice, nice.
Um, I'm trying to think of a character that kinda walks around the apocalypse and, like, is clueless. You know what I
No,
mean? Like,
but
there are
I
he
like that it's hard to
understand
think.
it.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
like that
he
it's hard to think of
understands
one.
it.
Yeah,
He just goes from place to place. It doesn't matter to him if you're alive or undead, he'll treat you
yeah,
the same.
nice.
He just really wants a beer. And if you can take him to where there's a beer, he will love you.
You
That's
know,
it.
it's so funny. You have a character named Fink, and this is where like
Yeah, we
we're
were
in sync
talking about this, right?
because I have a character named Radimus Fink. He's a rat
Yes.
in my Wonder Duck comic, and he's the villain in the book. Yours is, you know, it's a completely different character, but the
But
fact
if
that they
you think
both last name
about it,
Fink, it's funny.
a Fink is someone who, like you said, is a rat, right?
Yeah.
So in jail, they'll tell someone the truth.
Mm.
They'll rat you out. They'll tell you something
Yes.
that's the truth. So there you go. Now
Yeah.
you guys know. Does Dwayne know the actual truth about what
Right.
happened?
Right.
Where are they currently? In a jail cell, right?
Right. Yep.
So
Yep.
is he about to tell Jude the truth? Based on his name, it sounds like a yes.
That is
So
hilarious.
now you guys have to see what's gonna happen in next issue because he's gonna just lay it down where and then that it 100% influences what Jude does next.
Right, right. Ooh, okay. All right, cool. Next question. Big
Yeah.
James.
Big
Big
James.
James. Okay. Now, Big James has become a crowd favorite. Are there
Yeah.
any other characters in the story that has surprised you in terms of popularity? You realize you like them more after you started fleshing them out, etc. Like, are there any other characters similar to like what Big James has done?
You know, we haven't really gotten far enough into the everybody else in the story besides, like, Jude at this point has been killed, smashed by cars, or blown up, or eaten by
Mhm.
bears. So we have a lot of characters. We just haven't gotten to the ones that are going to stick around for a while. I think Dwayne Fink is one of those that you guys will
Yeah,
enjoy
yeah.
once you see more of him because he's going to be around for a little. I can't say it. He's going to be around. He's going to
Okay.
be around for a little bit.
Okay. Okay. All right.
But there
Cool.
are
Cool.
other characters, that I will introduce that you guys will be attached to, and they will be around for at least a little bit before I kill them off too.
There's
I only killed Jude twice, so don't worry about it.
oh my God. You so you have an adventure book. What is it? Choose your own adventure book
I do.
that has a few other characters that maybe we haven't seen
Yes.
yet in the book. So if you are those still available or you're done with those?
No,
They
they're
are.
still available. You can always purchase them from my website. They're available as add-ons on my
Yeah,
current campaign.
yeah,
So
yeah.
if you want to add one of those in addition to your trade paperback, those are super fun.
Yes.
George has one.
Yep,
So
yep.
he has walked through the Million Ways to Die in the West. And actually, I think you got to the end.
Yes, I did. I did. I
That's
was able to get there.
amazing.
But and I recommend the book. And I recommend the book because there are really cool characters within
Yeah, and you're
that.
gonna see them in the story.
And you'll
Some of
see
them.
them eventually, right? So that's kind of cool too because you're immersing yourself into the whole world with things like this. And there's a lot more things
Yeah.
on the campaign, that people need to check out? I'm sure you're going to have that in the show
What
notes.
I thought was really cool though is you as the reader of the Choose Your Own Adventure book now have more insight into some of
Yes,
these characters
absolutely.
than Jude St. Clair does. So
Mm,
the Skinner, right, who is in
yes.
the Choose is terrifying. Because if you find out what he's doing in this book, it's just nuts. And then at one point, Jude meets this guy and he's just like, hey, and you're like, run.
Right. Because I know, right?
Don't
And
talk
he
to this
doesn't
guy,
know.
right?
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
Jude has
Yes.
no clue who this guy is because it's his first time.
Right.
So it's just an interesting, like, building anticipation and
Yes.
dread with other medium.
Yeah.
So I thought it was
Absolutely.
cool. I don't know.
Yeah,
We'll
no,
see.
it's great. It's great. All right. Next question. Favorite Easter egg in the book?
I brought it up.
Spoiling anything. Without spoiling anything. What's your favorite Easter egg?
I brought it up for people to see because
Ooh.
here, let me share this tab.
See what we're doing, guys? Here we
Look.
put this together.
So
What
I
is it?
have quite a few. This one is issue number 2, and it's great because we start introducing the sign language, and
Mhm.
then I mean that's not really an Easter egg.
right.
It's actually part of the script and it's part of Jude's character. But when we get down there, we've been playing this card game. Jude loses all his money, and then Jimmy's like, "All right, I got your money. It's all I wanted. Get out of my town." And he's like, where am I going to go? And he's like, I don't care. And he's like, you don't care? You don't know or don't care? He's like, pick one, right? And then there's this, the musical Easter egg.
Oh, okay.
And if you can't read the music, I put a QR code there as well. So
love
you
that.
can hear what my brain is thinking in that panel. You know what I mean?
remember
Because
this.
there's
I
an
remember this.
iconic song. So if you look at the music, I hand wrote that, you know, based off of, I just transcribed it off of what I could pull up on the internet, but that is the actual music that I wrote.
Wow.
I wrote that out.
Did you add this to the story? I mean, the QR code was there because I remember this because when that's
Yep.
it was always
always been
there. Wow, I just saw the QR code and went right to it.
Yeah.
Because what happens next is a brawl, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. No, this is cool. I like that.
Yeah.
There it is. So the cool thing is, I don't know, I won't say it, but check out the QR code and I'll ask you off air. But the QR code is cool. And I do like that touch because that was different. I had never seen that in a comic until yours.
It
And I
sets
thought that
up
was
the
great.
tone of what's about to happen.
Right. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Yeah. That's cool.
It's a lot of fun.
And you choreographed those fights, right? Like you
I
basically
did.
told them exactly how to. Okay.
Usually
Nice.
my fight, that one's actually pretty close to the script. When we get a little further, there's another character who is less of a brawler and more of a tactician. And those fights get really technical. And I'm gonna have to work with Marco on how we show those because I probably put too much.
Okay. Hugo's
Like,
hilarious.
I can't put 15 panels on the page, Laurie.
Do you see what Hugo said here about
Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down. No, that's on the back of issue 3. You can find a Rickroll there, buddy.
Oh wow.
If you guys haven't done the QR code scavenger hunt on the back of the 3rd issue, go do it. Hugo, you should definitely do that.
Yes,
it's so
Hugo would love that. Now, so this goes actually to my next question, right? You come up with all of these things. You have tons of cool stuff in the Kickstarter, whether it's QR codes, whether it's those hardcover little books that you're doing. What do you got?
I'll put it up. Go ahead. You keep talking.
Yeah, no. How do you come up? I want to get into your head now. How do you come up with these things? And then the next question after that is, what can we expect in this campaign that maybe we haven't seen in the others? For those who haven't been in a campaign yet and haven't pledged to it yet, and they should.
And in this campaign, I give you a gimme. So where do we go here? Share this tab. All right, so here is the campaign. I'm going to go down to Riddle Short Films and Shenanigans. Here they are. Here's the QR code scavenger hunt I was talking about. This is super fun. If you solve this, you'll find a secret video on my YouTube channel. You've seen this, right, George?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's creepy. It it looks like you uncovered a video by Anonymous. That's what I'm gonna say about it. And then I don't know if you've solved this one yet.
I have not. No,
This
no, I
one is
haven't.
a little bit tougher. It's an actual riddle to solve, but I give you the key. See the key? I give it to you. Pick me up to call, but hope it's not for you. You are just a number. Dun dun dun. It's all I have fun doing these. Like I'm always like,
But
what am I gonna do next? Right?
well, that's what I'm
Um,
saying. How do you come up with these things? Like
I don't know,
what
just
do you
work.
do?
What do I do?
Yep.
I
I mean,
I think of what would be super cool if I solved it.
gotcha.
And I always want it to be something you can interact with that people have never seen before.
Right, right.
And that's like this one and this one. There is no comic book out there that does
No,
this.
no, there
Trust
isn't.
me.
There isn't. There isn't.
Or this.
And yeah, and that's the cool thing about the Path of the Pale Rider, right? And the world that
So
you're building is that there are so many different things that you can go there. You can be on this page for hours just figuring out a whole bunch of stuff. You know, like
you
that's
know,
what.
like
Look at
I'd
all
be
these
like,
videos.
and it's just gonna grow. That's the coolest part is that I every issue I'm continuing to do these.
Yeah,
I'm still working on the one for number 4. I have like 2 scenes left to film, and it's been just, we were talking about this. I need a clone
yeah,
because I'm just doing so much stuff right now, especially
right,
with the campaign running where I'm like,
yeah,
I need another person. But I have like 2 more scenes to film, and then I can edit the full short film for
yeah.
number 4, which is called A Day in the Life. We explore a small family, man and his wife and their 2 kids. You don't see the kids, but you hear them. But it's basically their relationship, what happens after he becomes undead, and he
Yeah.
dies in the first like minute of the
Wow.
short film, and
Yeah.
then like how he's starting to deteriorate, some of the financial problems, relationship problems, that happen because he is progressively deteriorating.
Yeah.
And eventually it becomes pretty scary.
Yeah.
We have some uncomfortable things, but we also have some scary things. It wouldn't be a Laurie Calcaterra film unless there was somebody getting,
Yeah.
scared. And
Yeah.
then of course at the credits, I zombified 40 people. They sent me creepy selfies and I put them through like 18 photo filters to turn them into zombies. And that turned out super cool. And then I created reasons why they were collected and they're super funny.
Oh my
Um,
God. That is
so it's
great.
always a good time. But
It is. It
so,
is.
if in the bonus material for the trade paperback, there's additional journal entries from Jude St. Clair because every issue, the kind of like the credits page,
Mhm.
Jude is telling you, he's writing in his journal about his experience and it's time stamped, right? So there's additional ones about some of his conspiracy theories, and there's a QR code on one of them, and it's a
Mm.
gimme. It actually will take you to this one of these. So if you haven't solved it, it's real easy.
Nice. I like it. I like it. And this is. I mean, to Hugo's point, he says I think it's cool that these are just some of the liberties that we can take
Yeah,
and have fun with as an indie, right? Yeah. This isn't something that you could have done if you were working for another, whether it's one of the big 2 or even, even
right.
Image may say, what are you doing? Like, no, that's not part of the marketing plan we have for this book or whatever. So it's nice that you're able to do those on your own.
Yeah, and that was one of the other things where it's like if I sold, let's say I sold the script to Netflix, they
Yeah.
get the entire rights,
Yeah.
right? So they could change the story, they could change my
Yeah.
characters, and then I wouldn't be able to do some of this cool stuff because
Mm-mm.
again, I've sold it all to Netflix. So
That's
it
right.
all ends when I sell it for a paycheck. I mean,
Absolutely.
there's always going to be a number, right? There's always a
Hmm.
number,
Hmm.
but we haven't gotten to that number
Yeah.
yet.
But at
I
least
haven't even pitched it to Netflix, and we're not there yet. We're having
correct,
too much fun.
correct. But at least the people who have been on have seen the story from the beginning can say, wait, Netflix changed it, man. It was this, like the books are so
That's
much better than the show. You know what I mean? Like,
that's what I want.
yeah,
That's what I
yeah,
want.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's why I'm like, we have to get further into the story. You have to meet
Correct.
all of these characters so that way when they change them, you know what they were originally trying to
Exactly.
do,
Yeah,
or they
yeah,
might
yeah.
kill off different people.
Right, right.
Walking
Absolutely.
Dead. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Bonus question. We have 4 minutes.
All
Bonus
right.
question. Why did you feel like going with ASAP Imaginations was the right move for Path of the Pale Rider?
That was a no-brainer, man.
Mm.
ASAP is going places. They are what I want to say. They're kicking ass and chewing gum, and they're all out of chewing gum. You know what I mean? Um,
Uh-huh.
they're growing hand over fist. I see it because I'm a part of that group and I can see that collection grow.
Right.
I get to talk with the level of creator because I host this show. So I get to see the people that are coming in and quality. And I know Hades he's just so busy. I mean, like if anybody's busier than me, George, it's Hades.
Yeah. No,
Right?
I
Let's be
know.
honest.
No, true.
'Cause
True.
he's
Absolutely.
constantly trying to move these books. He's in
Yeah.
comic book shops and he's at Comic Cons and he's doing he talks at the Comic Cons about what he's doing and the things that are there.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a cinema night, so there are more people like myself. There's Lance Lucero and like Malcolm
Mhm.
Wong, and there's other people that do film along
Yeah.
with their comic book.
Yeah.
And so there's actually 4 of us. They're going to do a cinema night in the UK, in
That's awesome.
London,
That's
and they're
awesome.
gonna Hades arranged it so he's gonna show the short film and then have my books there.
Yeah.
I mean, how
Yeah.
cool is that? It's
Yeah.
thinking outside the box. There's quality people here. We're all like family. We get along. There's no drama. I
Right.
mean, what is not to love?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hades is pushing books like the trades into bookstores.
Correct.
So, I'm sure at some point when my book is made, it'll be on Amazon, Indigo, Waterstone, which
Yeah.
is crazy to think,
Right. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So it made
And,
perfect sense.
and you know what? Like also like talking about Hades, this is his company, and this is what he does, right? Like yeah, Hades. What more do you even need? This is what he does. This is his thing. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he's not just he
Passionate
doesn't.
about it.
Yeah, there's a lot of passion behind it because he wants it to succeed, and that makes you want to bring your best product, or you put your best foot forward when it comes to doing your books and putting everything out. And they're in good hands, right? Like he cares.
Yes.
So yeah, no, it's I agree with you 100%, Laurie. But
I didn't even consider anybody else, to be honest with
yeah,
you.
yeah.
It was like I knew we were coming up to the trade. I was already involved with NE1 World because my digitals were there.
Yeah, yep.
And I was, it's kind of like reading the writing on the wall. You can see what's happening with ASAP and where they're moving. And it was like there is no other place I would like my trade to be.
100%. Well, we did it. Look
I
at
know
that.
we made
All
it through
those
with 3 minutes to
questions.
spare.
All those questions, and we have
3.5
3 minutes. Look at that. Look at that. Who's better? Well, this is fun. This was a lot of fun.
This was a blast. Yeah.
I like this. You should do more of this.
Absolutely.
80s, absolutely. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to your book, Laurie. I can't wait to get the trade and see what it looks like. I just said feel it, and you know what I mean?
I know.
Right. So the campaign is over when?
It ends on March 22nd.
March 22nd.
So we're like halfway. I did the campaign. We're not quite halfway. The campaign is 24 days.
Yeah.
So we are at, I think, day 15.
All right.
So not quite halfway, but still plenty of time. A lot of the goodies, bye-bye. Like they're gone. these handmade books.
Oh,
I know. I was like, Hugo saw when I had these 3, right?
Yeah.
We were at Texoma. I had these 3 to kind of show off. This red one's dope with the red pages.
So cool. So
I have made another batch.
Damn. I like that purple one.
Blue. Look at the pages. Blue. Beautiful. Like purple with green. This is Katie Shaw's.
Cool.
Gorgeous. And then the purple with the purple pages. But these turned out super nice. I'm working on another batch right now.
How many are you doing? You're doing what? 10, 9, 10?
I was thinking about doing 10, but I mean, like, here's the thing. I want to make these. So if people want them, I might make a couple extra, but like this one's the prototype. I wasn't intending on sending this one to anybody because it has mistakes in it, right? So like these ones I've learned, right? Sure. I've made mistakes, but I've learned, and these don't have the mistakes. This one's full of mistakes, but Pops Van Zant wants this one, so he gets that one. So technically I have 5 here and I have 3 downstairs, so that's 8. Wow. So there's 3 spots left. And on that big retail tier I have, if someone grabs that retail tier and they want one of these, they can have one. So that would be 11, technically.
Nice. I like it. The chat, Hugo, and they look at Hades. You'll make me what? What he said? You'll make me feel the feelings back.
I'd always make it feel, I was like, this is the point where we tell everybody what we feel about Hades, and he blushes. So
Nice.
he's not on the
Nice.
show, but we love you, Hades.
Yeah.
So,
Hugo, well done both. Thank you, Hugo.
thank
Hugo's the
you.
man, man. It was so great to
Yeah,
meet
he
him
was
at
great.
Texoma. That was great.
The
They got
Hades
Hades
in
in
the
the
posh
posh.
bookstore. Yes, they do. Because he charms them with his accent.
That's what it is. The
Oh,
accent is the accent.
it is. It is. Everyone
Yeah.
I've seen interacted from ASAP has been awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
And
Some
that just
awesome
speaks
people.
wonders about um who is part of this. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you want to surround yourself with like-minded people.
Mhm.
The hardworking people, the go-getters, the people that understand the business and are trying to think outside the box. That's who I
Yeah.
want to be around. That's why I'm
Absolutely.
here.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like having a publisher is one thing, but you still have to
Right.
do the grunt work. You still have to go out there and let people know that you exist, that your book is there. You
But
know
why
what I mean?
wouldn't you? I don't. That's what I don't
Exactly.
understand sometimes, where people are like, my publisher's going to do that. Well, why don't you
Mhm.
do it too? What are you doing with your free time?
Just too
See how
right.
hard I work? Get your butt out there. Get to
Yeah.
work.
Yeah. Get to work, man. Get to work.
You can
Get to work.
double your publicity if you're both working together instead
Exactly.
of your publisher just doing it. And for what? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
are you not going to cons? Are you not going to shows? Are you not on social media?
Mhm.
What the
Mhm.
heck, man? Go
What
back
the
to work,
heck? Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
So
Yes,
this was a
man.
great show. Thank you again for coming on with me.
Oh yeah. It's
We're gonna
fun.
have more guests next week. I'm gonna have Peter from Baylor.
Oh,
They're
cool.
gonna be kickstartering issue number 3. So we're gonna have him back on. I can ask him all the questions. I had Amy on and she answered some questions, but now it's like the other half, and I can, you know what I mean? Like Amy is the better half. We'll just say that because she's the lady. And
Nice.
then, but Peter's the writer, so I can ask him all like the hard writing questions and all of that good
Nice.
stuff.
Awesome.
So I'm looking forward to it. And we will catch you all next week. I'm going to play the same intro again because that one's fun.
Yes.
And we'll see you all next week. Bye.
Later.